Gamble, aka Play Big, at his first Novice, and coming down the center line, working on being nice and straight, and could have prepared him a little bit better for the turn left, but he was in a little bit of la-la land for that. And he is a big horse and a big mover, so I'm happy with how he's coming along. He's getting a lot steadier, and he's being a lot straighter. So just working on my 20-meter circle here. He still has kind of a notion to drift towards the gate or wherever the entrance was, so he does that a smidge in this test. Not too bad, but now here I made the mistake. I was supposed to do a 2-loop serpentine from A to C, and I went too far in the corner like I was going to go across the diagonal. So I kind of fudged it a little bit, so I didn't get the best score for that, but it happens. I saved it enough. So now on my second 20 meters, and again, I'm very happy with his rideability in this test. He's staying pretty consistent. He does get a little low in the pole right there. He kind of gets behind the vertical. And he is actually a horse that you really have to remind him to engage the hind end. For a off-the-track thoroughbred that was in fact a sprinter, you wouldn't know it sometimes because he doesn't mind being on the lower energy side, which honestly, that is a nice change of pace for me compared to some of my other rides. Well, for his walk, he can tend to be a little lateral in the walk, so I have to make sure it stays at the 4-beat rhythm. And then right here in this corner is where he kind of thinks that that's where we should leave. So he's a little late for that transition at C. And now I come into my half 20-meter circle to pick up our canter transition. Now that has kind of been a work in progress for him. He is a big horse, and getting him to kind of keep everything together. But I was very happy with how responsive he was. And now coming to the down transition, which again can be hard for him, but he holds that together pretty well. And although he tripped out behind. And then he thought he could suck behind my leg because he wanted to go to the gate right there. But whatever. Now I go across the diagonal. And I'm really just trying to have him push from behind, and he really is overstepping, preparing him to turn for the corner. And every now and then he just gets a little behind the vertical because, again, I'm trying to push the hind end to ride the withers up and out in front of me. Now we go into canter transition. It was decent enough. He kind of maybe popped up with his head just a smidge, but I was happy with it overall. So now we come for a down transition. Still actually stayed into the contact instead of hollowing. Turning down the center line. That sometimes can be hard for him. And now we come into our halt, which he actually took a step backward to square, but I was really happy with his dressage test. I actually thought it should have scored a smidge better, but I might be a little biased. But overall, I was really proud of him. And we ended up 9th out of 18, so right in the middle of the pack. So here we are getting ready for our cross country, and you can see it's starting to rain. We actually had a fair amount of rain occur kind of right before I went out, so it made the ground just a little slick. So I had to be mindful of that. And so heading to the first fence, asking him to go forward, nice and positive, and I could feel him go, yes, I get to jump the little bit bigger one. So it was nice to actually increase. Now he is such a big horse, and he can be deceiving because he has a very big stride. So mind you, we are just going novice, but it was nice because he already felt a little bit better focused than our last run. And now I'm coming to a little coupe, and there's a tight turn to the bank right after, so I wanted to make sure he stayed on his feet. So I'm trying to keep him really balanced. So I don't have studs in him. I typically don't stud my horses until training level. I like them to kind of figure out their feet. At novice, I'm going slow enough you can trot, and I just think it's really good for them to kind of figure out their feet. So coming now to split rail oxer. Again, I'm making sure he's staying balanced. See the good shot, pings right over that. And again, he's feeling very brave and seems to be enjoying going a little bit faster than past when we had to do beginner novice. So I was feeling like the last couple of I've always had people ask me when do you feel it's time to move a horse up. So especially for Gamble, he had run 3 beginner novices, and at the last one, even though I had a run out, he just felt bored to death. So knew it was time to move up. He needed a little bit bigger fence, needed a little bit quicker pace to keep his focus, and I actually had to keep him off of that one right there. He really wanted to get on down to it. So, but I really like that feeling of when they want to kind of take you to the fence. Now, the next jump that's coming up is a coop, and then we have like the water not that far off the backside. And I was really proud of him because every other water obstacle he's done, he's always like kind of wanted to eke into it and be really slow. But I asked him to kind of keep on going, and he said, "Oh, okay." So that was really great feeling. Coming to this nice table there, and he jumps that right out of stride. Again, I can't wait. Can't wait until we can move up the levels because he's just going to be such a fun horse. Gives you a good feeling out there on cross country. And it's very easy for him, so again, I'm having to keep him off of the fence. He actually jumped that really well from the deep spot. It's been easy for him to jump it from a little bit longer spot, so the deep spots can be a little uncomfortable for him, but he's got to learn that, and now is the time for him to learn it. So right here, I'm going to ask him to really steady up. He kind of lays on it a little bit, but we have the water coming, so I want to make sure we come nice and balanced to it. So we cantered in the water, and then I felt like it was getting pretty deep, so I asked him to trot because we had to do an up bank. And I made one mistake where I kind of tossed my body a little early, so he kind of sat down, but he did a good job of reading that situation, especially for his first time. I think that was like his first time jumping a bank out of water, so I was really proud of him for that. So now we have a coop. He had to be very clever going down the hill, staying on his feet to another log, and he jumped that really well. And now just coming on down to the last fence. And I was very proud of him. I had a really nice, really consistent round. And he really seemed like he enjoyed it. So that's one of my favorite parts of bringing the young horses along, when they really start to enjoy their job. And he finished up like he was Superman, so it was a good day. And we actually moved up to 7th place, so again, really happy with our run. Moving on to show jump. So sometimes when we come in the ring, you really have to be smart about where you ride your horse. So I wanted to make sure I rode him all the way down, kind of past that little jump judge thing, because horses tend to spook at that, and then also horses tend to spook at that Chat Hills jump that you can kind of see on that right side. But then also to get him down by the pavilion, just so you can hang an eye on it. It's not really a spooky horse, but horses were having rails down there, so I just thought I would give him a little bit of a moment, and this way I can have a good canter kind of coming to the first fence, which is off of a turn here. And I went to balance him up, and he kind of wanted to put in a little trot step, which, fine. He jumped it actually quite well out of that. We make our left-handed turn to this jump, which was coming down quite a bit, but he jumped that really nicely. Now we come to, this was a 6 stride. He jumps that really well. He actually jumped the first part in better because it was a little bigger, a little bit more impressive. But I'm just working on trying to keep the balance, keep a little bit of shape. He does a really good job of keeping a nice forward rhythm, and that's how he likes to be ridden. To the 2, and then I believe this was a 7. It was really nice. I was really happy with how that line rode. So now coming to a triple bar, you want to make sure you square your outside turn, outside rein, outside leg, and then keep coming so you come to the base. And then I balanced him here for the 8 strides. I was just really happy with his rideability. He was really listening. And now coming to the last oxer, balance him just a little, and he jumps it great. So really nice, clean round. It was a really fun show jump, and super proud of him. We finished up 6th, so was really happy with his first novice debut. Gamble did a great job.